Regular viewers have been asking me about my shop, and honestly, I've been trying to make this video for a while. I probably edited it 3 times and just started over. And I even went online and looked at the most popular shop video, and that didn't help at all. But then I realized the reason I'm having so much trouble is because there's so much of a story to be told about this building. Just a really interesting story that kind of parallels the story of Dayton, the city where I live. We're gonna do a story about this building, and then at a different time, we'll do a shop tour. Yeah, so anyway, back in 2017, well before the YouTube channel had even started, our friends sent us a link to a building that was for sale. And it was a really cool building, and it was in a neighborhood that Sarah and I had a lot of interest in. Not really a neighborhood, more of an industrial area. It was kind of a combination of industry and then Dayton's arts district. So there's some big buildings that were just all studios, working artist studios, and some other cool stuff, but it also had some, you know, not so great areas. And anyway, we put an offer in on this building, kind of hoping that it wouldn't get accepted. They wanted $25,000. We offered $18,000. This thing had been sitting on the market, and they got back to us and said, well, we have another offer, so what's your best and final? And at that point, we're like, well, it wasn't meant to be. So, you know, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And we're like, nah, that's our last offer. And then the next day they called us and said, well, congrats, they took your offer. And the other offer, I didn't even think there was another offer, but there was. And they offered the exact same thing, but they put all these contingencies because there was no electricity in the building, there was no gas in the building, there was no water in the building, nothing like that. And so they took our offer because I just assumed everything would be broken, and they wanted, you know, inspections and all this other stuff, which, you know, when you're buying a building for that price, you just assume the worst. So I started working on it when I had spare time. I bought windows, I put them in, had it painted, did a lot of demo, just so much demo. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. Okay, just an editorial note to help this make sense for you. This story is going to be narrated by me in the past through clips that I have made for Patreon supporters. So we're going to go back in time now and also show flashes to the future of where we are at the current point. So that's going to be signified by a ripple transition or a cross dissolve. All right, so this is my new building. We had it painted. Don't mind the caution tape. It just got hit by a car. Got hit by a drunk driver in an SUV going 45, and I'm in December, and I'm still fighting with the insurance company. Well, let's give you a closer look. Parked in the back. I got 4 spots back here. We had the electrical service. We had the gas. Well, anyway, let's show you this car accident. This is pretty crazy. This limestone column, you can see how that's how far it got moved when the car hit. It used to be flush with that. Isn't that wild? And then that corner up there got all busted out. And this thing here, the car hit right here, smashed into that, pushed all those pieces of limestone over, pushed this bulkhead over. But anyway, let's go inside. So we had to take out the old staircase because it was too steep, and it turned, and we had to, so you can see where it was and how steep it used to be, and put in this new one here. And we needed to turn and have a winder to get a acceptable slope. This is how I made that staircase turn without losing any floor space in my shop. I'm going to show you the studio apartment. So this is not the way you'll enter this. I'm walking through the studs here. But this area here is going to be a small studio that Sarah will run as an Airbnb. And hopefully the goal is once we can finish this building, she can stop her job because she's the breadwinner of the family. I do landlording and YouTube, and I don't make enough for her not to work on that. So little pocket door, bathroom in here, and then this is how you're going to enter this studio. So I need to build a staircase for this door. Right now you would step out into air and die. And then we're going to have a little kitchen on this wall, and then you got three really nice windows here.
So this is for an island. All this plumbing will be like a little island that it'll serve as like your breakfast table, and then so kind of like this area will be the living room, and then there will be a built-in bed in this little nook right here. And it's just like, this is like 400 square feet maybe. So all right, now let's go back and show you the big apartment. So this is the, I said, like living room, dining, kitchen area, not really dining. This little carve out here is for the furnace and the hot water heater. So we'll go into the front room. So this is going to be a formal dining room, or it could be a third bedroom. You can see that crack on the wall is from when the car hit. But this is kind of a pretty cool room, but it's pretty messed up. But it's got these 3 nice windows in here. I don't know that I can save these floors. So that's the dining room. And then this is just a long hallway, and it'll get closed off on the end. If you walk down it, you'd go into that studio apartment, but it's not going to be open. And then this is going to be the second bedroom in here. So this is the front where the road is. So you can see it's an industrial part of town. I mean, this is not a desirable area, but for what we're going to do with it, it'll be nice. Now we're going down the hallway. These are stacked back-to-back bathrooms. So this is like a 3/4 bath. So we got a toilet there, shower there, and then the sink will be on this little furred out area right here. And now we're on the other side where the utility closet is. That'll have the furnace and hot water heater and everything. So I've got all my electricity done and all my rough plumbing done in here. This is the master bedroom. So I've just been furring out walls for electric knee wall there. I'll put like some wainscoting. Put some wainscoting on there. And then you go in here. This is like a walk-in closet to master bath. Pocket door will be in here. That's the pocket door sitting there. And then over here, this will be your laundry. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that tour. So yeah, at that point, I had just been working on it slowly. And if you guys have watched any of my other shop videos, you'd see another shop that I work in, and I used to share that shop with a friend. And all of a sudden, that arrangement had to come to an end, so I had to take all my machines, get them out of there, and that fast-tracked this project a lot. And that's why I haven't made a shop video in a year, and that's because I don't have a functioning shop. But we're working on that now. Is that the masons finished their work on the outside. I got all this ugly concrete lattice work taken down, so this storefront window behind you is really going to be a focal point of the building. And you can see they made all the repairs to the brick on the outside, and I'll show you a little bit more of the inside later. The other thing I had while the masons were here, I had them do like a lot of other random repair work around the doors and the door frames, and had them parch some stuff, and they did a lot of other extra stuff. The major news is that there's new glass and a new door there, and I rebuilt one of the bottom panels, and that was huge. And then I also, one of the things is I put this door here. I ordered a fire door, and just put that in just because I thought that'd make that a little nicer and maybe make the inspector happy. Yeah, so this project is moving slowly, and really the reason for it, I hate to say it, the reason for it is because I'm doing it legally. I'm getting permits, I'm hiring contractors, and it's really frustrating. I'm having a lot of trouble with the city, so it's taking us a long time to get things approved, and then I'm having to wait for contractors. I'm having to spend like thousands of extra dollars to hire people to do work that I already could have had done. And then there's so many places that they make you spend useless money. Like the upstairs, because it's residential, an HVAC contractor can come in here and just put in a system that they know will work. The downstairs, well, it's the exact same square footage. The city is making me hire a mechanical engineer to design the system
that the HVAC contractor is telling them that they're putting in. So they're not adding any value. They're not changing what's going to happen. It's solely for the purpose of pleasing the plans reviewers and the biggest thing is that I passed my inspection. My staircase inside passed, my outside staircase passed, all my framing passed. The only thing that failed is, not really failed, but they want in the studio apartment right here, the wall is a tenant separation wall. So I had to build it up into the attic, and then I had to coat that on both sides with drywall, which was a huge pain. And then he wanted either an engineer or an architect to write out my blind beam right here. So, and then the same thing with the heating and air. Have all my holes cored. These massive 18-inch holes. That one down there is a return. The one up top is a supply. Furnace is going to sit right there. And then I've got these holes cored behind me. An 8-inch, a 10-inch, and an 8-inch to supply that room with spiral ducting. So this is 12 feet, 5/8 inch drywall. And so we've got this much done here. And then if we go into this room, we've got that much done. And that's like basically 10 hours of work. My helper, I hired my helper from the ministry next door. It's a ministry for recovering addicts. He happens to be recovering from alcohol. 55-year-old guy. He's really fun to work with. He's been sober for like 2 months. And he's really enjoying this because it just changes things up for him. So this drywall, these are 12-foot sections. This needs to get covered up with this stuff called RC channel, and then another layer of 5/8 drywall. So this will never get really final finishing. And so you got these little clips you can lean it on, and then just let it go over very carefully, and then you can rotate it up. And don't forget to put the wet side down. All right, and so I started working at 7:45. It's 3:30. My helper showed up at noon. So that's how much work you can get done hanging drywall. I've finally just passed my structural follow-up, so I've demonstrated the layer of drywall with RC channel. These are spaced 24 on center because the studs are 16 on center, and if it were 24 on center joists, then you would space these 16 on center. So I've got this room done. I've put a couple pieces up over here. I've got this whole room done here. You know what's really crazy is that putting this RC channel up takes just as much time as putting the drywall up. So I was shocked. I thought it would go up faster, but I guess now that I think about it, it makes sense. It's just the same thing, except I can't use the automatic screw gun. So the electrician is working towards his rough in, so he's got a bunch of wires pulled, and he's roughed in a lot of this. Rough inspections are everything that's going to be covered. So there's some stuff that's going to go below that drywall in the other room. There's some stuff that's going to go below the drywall here. I'm not allowed to penetrate the drywall because it's commercial residential, so I have to have everything in conduit. So that stuff's not considered part of rough because it's shown, so he doesn't have to do that now. So I've also had the heating and air company run their line set, just because that you can cover it, because you can use one of these intumescent fire collars around the line set. So that just runs over here. I ended up failing my structural inspection in this room, but it was actually kind of a good thing. So I basically failed because the city sent a different inspector than they had the first time. The first inspector was going to let me treat this wall here basically the same as the ceiling. The ceiling is called out as a 2-hour fire partition, and it's spec'd in the plans. There's a UL wall or ceiling assembly that's been tested and shown to resist fire for 2 hours, and the wall the architect didn't specify how this wall was going to be built. He just specified that it was a 2-hour wall. So the second inspector, when I showed him my plans, he was like, no, that's you can't do that. But anyway, it's actually good that it failed for that and nothing else, because this wall that I built here is basically, it was an existing wall. I had to rebuild it about 4 inches over because I needed to fit an ADA bathroom in here and it wasn't wide enough. And when I rebuilt it, this floor was all rotted out, so I rebuilt the floor. And one of the things that had happened is that over time, the wall was built as a non-load bearing wall, but these rafters these are continuous old growth 2x10 rafters. And what had happened was they had started to sag. And the non-load bearing wall had become a load bearing wall, and it had made these floor here kind of sink, and termites had eaten it out. So when I rebuilt it, I got a truss company and I had them spec out, an LVL company. They do trusses too, but I basically had them spec out an LVL to break up the span of this ceiling. All right, and that's not in my drawings at all. I just did it because I didn't want this wall to ever be load bearing. And so the inspectors, you never know what they're going to become fixated on, and they're usually super reasonable, but the problem is, even when they're being reasonable, the system is so bad that you're still getting screwed. You know, they'll be like very lenient and very nice, but they'll still have you do something that's going to cost you a ton of money and time. So I was worried that they would have a problem with this being here, just because they see something new that's not on the plans, and all of a sudden they start asking questions about it, even though it's rebuilt like way stronger than it was ever originally built. The other thing that he was very lenient with me on is this fire blocking here. You know, it's good, it's done well, but it really should be up there. And I explained to him that, you know, with those 3 pipes there, I was going to have a really hard time doing a good job fire blocking it up there, so I moved it down here where there's much less going on, and thankfully he was good with that. And the last thing to update you guys on is the plumbers passed their water and their waste, but they had to cancel their gas because they had a leak. And so I still don't have heat in here. I've been trying to get the heat turned on. When they pulled the permit, they wrote the wrong apartment numbers originally, so even though the upstairs has already passed, I gotta have that repressure tested. It's just been a nightmare. What I've been working on lately is we've been going over these walls and kind of scraping as much loose wallpaper as we can, and we've been filling the gaps at the top with hot mud. All right, so that pretty much brings us to the present. I hope you enjoyed the story about the revival of this building. In a lot of ways, it parallels what's been going on in Dayton since the late 90s. Dayton's been on a heck of a run, and stuff like this is just going on everywhere in the city, to the point where it's really turned into a great place to live. It's one of the few places where the economics of housing and everything actually still works out for normal people. And this whole street used to be, you know, pawn shops and check cashing and stuff like that, and now it's studios and light manufacturing and woodworking shops and stuff like that. So it's really turned into a nice place. I have a lot of video of stuff that I cut out of this, so if you have any questions or you want to see anything else, let me know, leave a comment, or if you just want to tell me everything I did wrong and how it's going to catch on fire and fall over, you can do that too. Have a party. Hope you liked it. Thank you.